Morning, YouTube friends. This is part 2 of the biggest change I made to clear up my worst flare. I'm in my bathroom getting ready for work, and this is the only time I have to make a video. So welcome to some bathroom BS. I had noticed before the flare, and keep in mind the flare again was like 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 months of that hot red rash. I had noticed some patterns of when I did eat processed foods, cookies, chips. I love some plain chips are my favorite, potato chips, chocolate, any type of baked goods. I would have a bit of a flare. And it wasn't always necessarily a bad flare, but getting back to the sourdough workshop, all of a sudden I was making sourdough bread because I was just learning how to make it. I was eating it probably twice a day. So I just think for me, for my system, that was too much. And I went into a big flare, and I was flaring already and still doing that. Again, noticing the pattern ahead of time, I started to connect the dots, and it was like, okay, like I was eating all this sourdough bread, and that was probably causing the flare. And again, no bashing of sourdough bread. That was just the way my body was reacting. So I stopped baking the sourdough bread, put the starter in the freezer, and no more of that. Again, knowing that I had that pattern, and again, I don't think I have allergies to foods. I just think that's how my body reacts to processed foods. And I knew it, but at that time, I just wasn't ready to make the change. I just wasn't in the mindset. It wasn't, I guess, bad enough. I didn't want to have to make any more changes. I was already dealing with LS and just, the changes that come with your life, in menopause and, during retirement. I just didn't want to have to think about one more thing and do one more thing. However, the negatives highly outweighed the positives of having all those treats. So I knew I needed to make a change, and I definitely couldn't, my life couldn't be on hold. And I really had to think about, what do I want my retirement years to look like? So for me, again, this is just speaking solely for me. I'm definitely not telling anybody what they should do. So for me, even though I don't think I have any allergies, I do think that I'm more sensitive to, maybe my body just doesn't handle the processed foods as well. And if I was going to make changes, I wanted it to be doable, something that I didn't have to make any drastic changes. Through my EAP program at work, I decided to access a dietitian. And I know that that's not possible for everybody. I was able to get the dietitian for free, but it was the best decision I made. She was very supportive. She had not heard of Lichen sclerosus, but did a little bit of research before we met. Honestly, we didn't make any drastic changes. I, with her support, was able to follow a well-balanced diet. And so when I say a well-balanced diet, we didn't cut out any food groups. I didn't count calories. Portion control, I didn't measure anything. Yeah, I was just trying to watch my, have an average, an adequate amount of food. I was always a water drinker. I was never a juice drinker, so I didn't have to worry about, anything in a juice. I always drank my coffee black. My tea was clear, sometimes a little bit of honey. And I still enjoyed some treats, but in moderation. Alcohol, that's another video. I hardly, I don't drink very much alcohol anymore. So, my mornings would look like oatmeal, berries, I like blueberries specifically, and some Greek yogurt. Lunch and suppers were salads and, proteins, healthy fats. One change I did make is in the evening, I was having a little bit of trail mix. And that wasn't planned. We happened to go on vacation, me and my husband, and we bought some trail mix. The trail mix with, there's raisins, there's nuts, and there's like a tiny bit of chocolate. And I just felt like that satisfied me, you know, like that saltiness, and it was more of a healthy treat. And that's what I've been having every night for like a snack. And I'm talking like a small bowl. And so do I still have treats? Absolutely, I have treats. I have chips, I have chocolate, I have baked goods, but it's all in moderation. So if I know we're going to be having, say, a meal where it's, you know, has some breads in it, or it has a lot of processed stuff in it, the rest of the day I'm trying to stick to my normal diet. So when I talked about the nitty-gritty, what I meant in the first video, part 1, is my opinion. What goes in your body affects what comes out your body. In the lichen sclerosus area, in the vulva perianal area, that affected my skin. So the skin was getting very irritated and was not healing up. It was a constant flare because the skin was getting affected. It was compromised. I have been able to stick to this for about a year. Do I fall off the rails sometimes and indulge? Absolutely. But I have built up that healthy tissue in the area. So when I do have something that is processed, you know, not that great for me, the built up healthy tissue prevents me from going into a big flare. So do I still get some irritation? Yes. Do I still get some discomfort? Yes. Do I still have some flares? Yes, but they're not as severe. That is my take on it. That is the one big change I made. I want my retirement years to be quality years. I want to spend time with my family. I want to do things that I can do. And this was doable. Was it really easy? You know, it wasn't easy, because I would have done it a long time ago and I didn't. But it got to the point where it was affecting my life and I made those changes. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, you know, experienced a bad flare, what has helped you? Please put any comments, any suggestions below. My name is Dawn. Please like, please comment, and please subscribe. Happy Monday.